season ago. Certainly, you had a lot of physical things that you had to deal with ramping up into spring training and then during the season. How do you feel physically right now compared to where you were at points last season and certainly last spring?
I feel tremendously better now than I did last year. I feel like I finally had a full off season to kind of get ready for, coming into camp and, being ready for the season. Obviously, last year with my ankle injury, I was in a boot to about mid-December. So that was hard kind of doing your normal off season stuff. So I think this time around, I definitely feel a lot better.
So because you were able to have a more normal offseason, what has been the focus for you, either this offseason or right now as you enter camp? What is the thing you're focused on?
Well, I think so for me last year, my pitches were doing stuff that I wasn't accustomed to. Like I was cutting the ball a lot. And, this offseason I focus on trying to make sure my body is right and, make sure that I get to kind of my version of 2018 where I had more carry on the ball and, I could play that off my breaking ball. Like I said, last year, everything was kind of going side to side and, that didn't help me at all. And, I was able to make some adjustment. I started training in this biomechanic place and it's called RPP with this guy Nunzio and the staff they had there kind of helped me find that consistency.
Thanks.
Next question is from Disha Thozar.
Hey, Dellin, I know we asked you about this a ton last year, but just how do you feel about your velo right now and how important is that to you to kind of get it back, like you said, to the 2018 version of yourself?
Yeah, right now, I've only thrown 2 bullpens. I feel a lot better than I did last camp. I don't know, where I'm at, but I know that, like I was telling us, Gelps, I feel like I have better carry on my ball right now, and I'm not getting that cut as I was last year, and I think that's just going to help me, get more swings and misses, which I lacked last year. So I think that's something that I've been trying to focus on.
And then same thing, I think last year you said you wanted to focus on the control of your fastball and your curve. How do you feel about the command of those pitches so far?
It's been really good in the bullpen so far. So, I'm facing hitters on Friday, so I'm excited for that. Take some of that stuff that I worked on in the offseason and, that command as well. So I'm looking forward to Friday. But it's been good so far in the bullpens I've thrown here.
Next question is from Tony DeComo.
Hey, Dellin. Just to follow up on that, you had kind of spoken a little bit last year about maybe learning to be effective even if you're not throwing 99. How much of maybe what you were talking about earlier, what you've done at RPP and some of those other things, was with that in mind, was with the idea of being able to get hitters out different ways?
Yeah. I think that was one of the biggest key for me was just, working on my mechanics, making sure that the ball is doing what I wanted to do and getting that carry, that kind of rise to the fastball. A lot of times, like I said last year, obviously my velo wasn't there, but, everything was cutting, man. My breaking balls weren't as effective and my fastball wasn't as effective. So trying to get to that point, I feel good right now at this stage. So I'm kind of excited to take that into live BP this week and kind of build off that in this spring training and take it into the season.
Is the cutting of the fastball, is that something you're trying to eliminate or something you're leaning into a little bit and just trying to control it?
Trying to eliminate it. My ball cut when, years before, but I still had that carry where it kind of like, it was effective. But last year it was like, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but my induced vertical break, something that on the analytics side that I try to focus on. And last year it was like way below what I averaged throughout my career. And, in my bullpens now, I've kind of gotten back to what my normal average was. And so less cut for me, it's better. And more ride on the fastball. I think helps me, and especially with my breaking balls, so I can kind of throw fastballs up and snap the breaking balls.
Thank you.
Next question is from Ed Coleman.
Hey, Dellin. Louis said the other day that you've been paying more attention to your mechanics and your arm angles in this camp, and I wonder whether you've seen the effectiveness of that with your pitches, and also, did you spend too much time last year worrying about the velo?
Obviously, for me, I've pitched with, my velo's always kind of been up. I've been that power guy, and so that's what I pitched with. And then last year, obviously, throughout the season, I was a lot lower than what I'm used to. And like I said, my pitch was doing something that I wasn't accustomed to, and I couldn't command it. So I lack command, I lack strikeouts. So, for me, I'm a strikeout guy, and that's something that I lacked last year. So I put in a lot of effort into this offseason to making sure that I can get some of that carried back, and, it just kind of helps with the pitches I throw. And, I put a lot of focus in that this offseason, working on my mechanics and making sure that, I have a good spring training and, leads to a great season.
I also wondered, as the offseason went along and guys kept coming in, Lindor, Carrasco, what went through your head with the changes with the team?
Definitely a lot of excitement. Obviously, they've done a tremendous job, new ownership, bringing in a lot of great minds and putting them together, and, bringing a lot of great players, players that I've enjoyed competing against. And, now I'm happy to be a part of them. Obviously, Lindor, we've had it, McCann behind the plate, somebody that I'm excited to throw to. I think a lot of the pitchers are excited to throw to him. I've heard a lot of great things about him. A lot of versatile players, a lot of guys that can play multiple positions and do a lot of great things. So I think they did a tremendous job. Obviously, helped the rotation out. Makes the bullpen stronger. I think we're heading in the right direction.
Thanks, Don.
Next question is from Dave Lennon.
Hey, Dellin, it seemed like some of the injuries that you had, it may have been connected in some way, whether it was from the shoulder to the lat, maybe even to the Achilles at some point. I was wondering if the biomechanical guys that you worked with identified some problem areas and maybe can stop and prevent those things popping up for you in the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why, I was happy to meet Nunzio and the group they had. They did a full assessment on my body and stuff that they thought led to my injuries. And we put a whole program together to make sure that I can get my body right and work on certain things to, kind of put myself in the best position going forward. And, I definitely enjoy that, so doing some of his stuff and working out with my own guy, Glenn, I think that combination helped me come into the spring training feeling good.
And just along those same lines, Dellin, with the changes that you did make mechanically, is the expectation for you to be back velocity-wise, or is that tough to say this early?
It's tough to say. I mean, like I said, right now I feel a lot better than I did last year and in previous camps when I was healthy. But it's tough to say. We'll see where it goes. But like I said, if I can get some of those numbers that I had when I was healthy, even if it's velocity is not there, but if I can get some of that ride and play that off my breaking ball, I feel like I can definitely do a great job.
Thank you.
Next question is from Greg Joyce.
Hey, Dellin, just with the amount of innings that you've thrown the last 2 years, did you build up any differently this offseason, just preparing for a bigger workload? And do you have any expectation of how many innings you might be able to throw this year?
You saying with the lack of inning I've thrown the last couple of years?
Right.
Like I said, I worked really hard this offseason, and for me, hopefully, I want to do some of the stuff that I did earlier on in my career, and I'm gonna try my best to get ready in spring training. I mean, if I have to throw multiple innings, I'll be willing to do that. You know, obviously, I just want to, help the team out and whatever I can do. But we'll see. I think I work really hard to make sure I can, throw a lot of innings this year.
Next question is from Raul Ramos.
Hi, Dellin. For the benefit of your Spanish fans, puedes explicar cómo te sientes física y mentalmente y qué cambios hiciste durante el invierno para estar preparado ahora?
Bueno, gracias a Dios me siento bien entrando a este entrenamiento. Esta fue una de las primeras, o sea, tenía varios años que no he podido entrenar como yo quería en el off-season. Tuve un off-season completo. Sabemos que el año pasado batallé con el tobillo. No pude entrenar de la forma que yo estoy impuesto a entrenar. Y gracias a Dios este año trabajé fuerte, trabajé un chin más temprano de lo que estoy acostumbrado y me siento bien viniendo a este nuevo entrenamiento del 2021.
¿Qué metas tienes para este 2021?
Bueno, para mí es tratar de ganar el campeonato. Es algo que no ha podido hacer en mi carrera y no sabemos que tenemos tremendo equipo para cumplir esa meta. Esa es la meta número 1 para mí.
Thank you.
Mentally and physically, I feel good. This off season, I've been able to train the way that I've been wanting to train that I haven't been able to do the last couple of off seasons with the injuries that I had. But this past off season, I was able to start my training a little earlier than usual. But now I feel really good. And the ultimate goal for me this year is to win a World Series. It's something that I haven't been able to do in my career. And I think with the team that we have, I think we have a good chance of doing that.
Thank you, Alan. The next question comes from Disha Thozar.
Hey, Dellin, I guess just personally for you, are you thinking of this season as sort of a comeback after having only pitched in 16 games over the past 2 years? Like, do you think you have something to prove to Mets fans this year?
Yeah, I mean, how can I say, like, for me, last year was a disappointing year. Obviously, I wasn't healthy and, it was a short season. It was a weird year for sure. So for me, yes, I definitely have something to prove just because, this is pretty much a brand new team and I haven't been able to pitch in front of the Mets fans at home. So, something that I'm looking forward to and I'm excited. And, I want to win the fan base over. Obviously, I was able to do that with the Yankees, but, I haven't done nothing with the Mets. So for me, I have to, kind of win the fan base over and then just do my job. That's the ultimate thing for me.
Thank you.
Next question comes from Tim Britton.
Hey, Dellin, when you mentioned something like induced vertical break, is that a concept that you were familiar with for a while, or is that something you've learned more and more about just more recently?
Something new. I think when we were making that transition with the Yankees where they started using a lot of the rap soda and a lot of the data, I got hurt. So I wasn't able to use that stuff. So, this offseason, every bullpen I threw, I used that, the rap soda to kind of help me make an adjustment on the pitch-to-pitch, which is pretty cool. Something, you can do before you just kind of threw a bullpen and see how you felt. Now you have all this data that you can look at and, maybe you make some adjustments, how you hold the ball or, just try to, just use your wrist, manipulate your wrist in a certain way, stay behind the ball more, and you can see the data right away. So, it's something that I enjoy this offseason using.
Is that kind of that's a measurement of carry, I think, basically, or rise? Yes. Is that the most important thing that you look at when you're doing bullpens like that?
Well, for my fastball, it was just because, like I said, last year, I was just cutting everything. So, going into this offseason, I looked at the numbers when I was healthy and what those numbers were, and I was trying to get to that. And, I was able to do that. So now I just got to take it out there and when I face hitter. So I'm kind of excited to see, how those numbers do and the swings that I get from some of those hitters as well.